Hello and welcome to the Champions Adjust Sports Talk Show. My name is Aaron Machbitz, and this is episode 17 of the Champions Adjust Sports Talk Show. And you guessed it, it's sponsored by Champions Adjust, which is a sports performance brand that is centered around our mindset program, the Champions Adjust Mindset Program. So you can go to Champs Adjust for all of your mindset or mental skills needs. We also drop a podcast episode every single day, and we do this sports show once a week. We also have some really cool apparel or merchandise, so check that out if you are interested at champsadjust.com. So let's get into this week in sports. Here we go. First and most importantly, congratulations to the South Dakota State women's basketball team for beating Oklahoma State to advance to the second round of the NCAA women's tournament. I went to South Dakota State. I played baseball at South Dakota State, so I absolutely love South Dakota State University and get super pumped when they do well, especially in these big tournaments as we continue to get nationally recognized. We did really well in wrestling this weekend again for South Dakota State. The women's basketball team is moving on to the second round to play UConn on Monday. That's a huge game, and we could be looking at an upset because it wasn't an upset against Oklahoma State. They beat Oklahoma State to advance to the second round. It wasn't an upset. They're a top 25 ranked team. They were like 29-3 in the regular season. We're in the top 25. Oklahoma State was also good. It was just a good matchup and a good game all the way to the very end within 3 or 4 points. So it wasn't an upset. South Dakota State just won. They were better that day, and they move on to the second round to play UConn. So congratulations to my alma mater, the women's basketball team, absolutely crushing it. Probably the most consistent winningest program at South Dakota State. The wrestling program is right behind them, doing really well. So that's fucking awesome. We love when the Jacks do well. So cheers to that. Next, we have another really big congratulations to Wyatt Hendrickson, the Oklahoma State University student and Air Force Second Lieutenant Wyatt Hendrickson won. He won the NCAA heavyweight wrestling title on Saturday while President Donald Trump was in attendance. This was actually the first time President Trump had attended the championship as the sitting president. He had, however, previously attended in 2023 as the president entered the Wells Fargo Center in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, his first visit to the state since entering office. The crowd actually met him with cheers and some USA chants. Really great. President Trump obviously shook the hands of the fans as he walked in to the great ovation and cheers of USA. Hendrickson beat, this is why it was an unbelievable finish and win for Hendrickson. He beat the 2020 Olympic gold medalist Gable Stevenson, who had a 99-2 record. Listen to that. He was 99-2 and hadn't lost an NCAA match since 2018-2019 season. The final score was 5-4. Following Hendrickson, his third period comeback, he had a takedown. Stevenson was leading by a score of 4-2 with 30 seconds left on the clock, and Hendrickson achieved a beautiful takedown against the two-time national champion, and then that won him the match. Immediately after winning, Hendrickson pointed to Trump in the crowd and saluted him. Hendrickson draped himself in an American flag before approaching Trump to shake his hand. What a beautiful thing that was. I mean, again, congrats to Wyatt of Oklahoma State for really doing the impossible. According to Kurt Angle, who, famed WWE superstar, but also an Olympic gold medalist in his right, so an absolutely credible source when it comes to things of this nature, he said this could very well be the biggest upset since Dan Gable lost in the finals in 1970, right? As a reminder, Gable Stevenson is 24 years old with an Olympic gold medal. He's a 3-time world champion, 2-time NCAA champion, and a 5-time All-American. That's unbelievable. That resume is incredible, which makes what Wyatt did even more impossible, unbelievable, and awesome. Someone put this comment on X that I thought was pretty cool, right? Gable hadn't lost in years. Wyatt didn't just win, he made people believe again. That's a cool thing. That's what sports, are meant to do, right? Gable is an absolute legend and deserves his flowers, obviously, as one of the best, maybe the best to ever do it. I don't know. Wrestling sort of historians can argue about that. Maybe we'll ask Kurt Angle who he thinks the best to ever do it is. But Wyatt helps us find hope in the impossible through sports. That's what they're all about. Sports are about seeing the amazingness that human beings are capable of through perseverance, through going at the impossible. Yes, it was the one ranked guy versus the two ranked guy. So most people who saw it on social media were just like, what's the big upset? It's one versus two. But the big upset is that Gable Stevenson was 99-2 and was heavily favored to win the whole thing by a long shot. And then this guy Wyatt comes in, also an absolute beast, an absolute stud when it comes to obviously wrestling, beats him last 30 seconds, 5-4, and we see sort of the beauty of the American spirit. And with President Donald Trump in attendance, you also see that beauty of the American spirit, and hopefully some unity and people coming together over the love of sports and people doing the impossible and hope and all of these sorts of things that sports can garner these sort of emotions and investment. So again, unbelievable stuff. Congratulations again to the South Dakota State women's basketball team. Hopefully, I believe they can beat UConn, which actually would be an upset, right? Because UConn is incredible. It wasn't an upset against Oklahoma State, but it could be. They could do an upset. They could do the impossible like Wyatt against UConn on Monday. But now we have Wyatt as an NCAA heavyweight champion, and that's awesome. So let's go on to the NFL, and we'll start with Mina Kimes. There was some quote unquote drama with Mina over the week. I think it was on Wednesday. She was like on Around the Horn or something. And first and foremost, Mina is one of my favorite and one of the best ESPN analysts, period. She covers mostly football, and she's really, really good at it. One of the best, if not my favorite people to watch, listen to when talking about ESPN, talking about football, talking about all these sorts of things. So if you're going to start a social media beef, you probably want to avoid getting into one with her, right? But notorious sort of NFL content aggregator and engagement farmer, Dov Kleinman, or Dove Kleinman, however you say it, on Twitter, learned this one the hard way this week. Kleinman decided to chime in on the quote unquote controversy, which is not really a controversy, but it was deemed a controversy regarding Kimes' comments about Jackie Robinson's legacy on Wednesday's episode of Around the Horn. Mina sounded off on the U.S. Department of Defense's removal of an article detailing Jackie Robinson's military service. The removal of the article came at a time when the government's push to get rid of mentions of diversity, equity, and inclusion, or DEI, as most people understand it. Jackie Robinson was known for many things, but above all, first and foremost, it was his ongoing courage in the face of racial discrimination. This is what Kimes said. She went on to say, in fact, in addition to crossing the color barrier in baseball, he served in a segregated unit in the Army, and in one instance refused to move to the back of the bus, was arrested and acquitted. That matters. That history cannot be erased, it cannot be undone, and it must be recognized to fully understand and to celebrate his legacy and the amazing thing that he did. Her comments are objectively true, but they led to some backlash on social media, which people are saying ESPN and other programs need to keep politics out of sports. And I tend to agree with that sentiment, to keep politics out of sports, but not when it comes to Jackie Robinson and what he did. Jackie Robinson is not political. Yes, the debate about DEI may be political now, but what Jackie Robinson did then was not political. He was breaking barriers. He was doing it through courage and perseverance, and doing something that we never saw ever done before, and he did it. So we need to celebrate Jackie Robinson and the truth and the courage that he represented, and that's not a political issue. I don't understand how Jackie Robinson became a political issue. He broke the color barrier. He did so many things that were firsts, and through perseverance and courage, he was able to do that, and it should always be celebrated no matter what, especially in my favorite sport, which is Major League Baseball. And so then Dove Kleinman decided to chime in and claimed many football fans are calling for ESPN to fire NFL analyst Mina Kimes, which is not true. This is totally not true, never happened. But Kleinman doubled down on the manufactured discussion and asked his followers, should Mina Kimes be fired? Absolutely not. She's the best one at ESPN. She is the best NFL analyst at ESPN. Yeah, it doesn't matter, right? Better than majority of the guys who play ball and still can't speak eloquently or in full sentence or communicate how much they have knowledge up here. She's able to communicate that really well. And so the absurdity of the discourse made its way back to Kimes, who perfectly roasted Kleinman for his commentary. She said, I see at NFL Dove Kleinman keeps posting weird stuff about me today. Flattered because I think this means I now have something in common with Jennifer Lawrence. Now, Kimes fired back at this guy with a reference about Kleinman's alleged infatuation with actress Jennifer Lawrence. There have been internet rumors that the actress has a restraining order against the original owner of the account, but has never been proven, and it's just only internet lore. But despite that, Kimes just had a brilliant roast of the account. And, again, there's never been any proof about the Kleinman Lawrence rumors, and there has always been uncertainty about who actually runs the account. But Kimes hit the home run with the roast. And so if you're going to come for Mina, you better come prepared, especially considering she's so well liked and so well respected in sort of the analyst, commentator, sports type world. People really enjoy what she has to say. I really enjoy what she has to say. And it goes to show you that she has a sort of a loyal following. And this guy is obviously just trying to stir up, controversy or things of that nature to garner more interest and clicks and engagement on social media, which obviously we see a lot of nowadays. But it just sucks that it happened to be at the expense of an amazing trailblazer, courageous human being named Jackie Robinson, who should be always, no matter what, celebrated for his accomplishments. And it's not political whatsoever, especially when talking about specifically about him. I do believe, yes, we should try and keep politics out of sports, because people come to sports to clear their mind, to watch sports, to see things like Wyatt Hendrickson do the impossible, to get their mind off of the world and just have a place to, be. To watch these great athletes do great things, and to stay away from sort of the politics and the hardships and the travesties and the controversies of the world. But that's not Jackie Robinson. Again, Jackie Robinson is the definition. He's the definition of courage, and he's someone we should always celebrate no matter what. And that's not a political issue. And I just don't understand why it became one, but good for Mina, one of my favorites. So cheers to that. So now let's talk about the upcoming NFL draft. There's the first few waves of NFL free agency are finished, giving us a better idea of what all 32 teams might do in the 2025 NFL draft, which comes on April 24th. And so based on some key signings and trades, some teams avoided creating new weak spots and or filled some positions of need. The NFL Combine also provided more clarity on the rising stock of particular prospects too. So putting those big early offseason events together, here are some of the latest projections for the best first round fits. I'm only going to give you what's projected to go in the top 10, the 1 through 10, and then you can check out, the rest of the first round yourself with people who are going to give you the first round, the second round, the third round projections. I'm just only going to talk about here the top 10 picks because, that's just what I care about. And so it's projected these are the picks for the top 10. Tennessee Titans are going to go with Cam Ward, projected. Cleveland Browns are going to go Shedeur Sanders. New York Giants are going to go Abdul Carter. New England Patriots are going to go Travis Hunter. Jacksonville Jaguars are going to go Will Campbell. Las Vegas Raiders, who are definitely a team to watch this year, are going to go Tatoria McMillan. New York Jets, who need all the help they can get, are going to go Tyler Warren. Carolina Panthers are going to go Mason Graham. New Orleans Saints are going to go Shamar Stewart. And Chicago Bears are going to go James Pierce Jr. James Pierce Jr. So you have Travis Hunter going fourth to New England Patriots, which could be, if he tries to go both sides of the ball, Drake may have a really good receiver in Travis Hunter. We'll see how Cam Ward and Shedeur Sanders shake out as the top quarterbacks taken in the draft. But those are your top 10 picks. Again, there's obviously more picks than that in the first round, but those are going to be your most high profile picks because they're going in the top 10. And so with that said, we also saw the Giants sign QB Jameis Winston. It was reported that he got 2 years, $8 million by Fox Reports. Jordan Schultz reported that the Giants signing Jameis Winston. Of course, we know that Aaron Rodgers and Russell Wilson still haven't signed yet and will or could potentially make strong impacts wherever they end up. It looks like maybe Aaron Rodgers might go to the Steelers. It also looks like Russell Wilson might re-sign with the Steelers. Obviously, the Giants are out on Aaron Rodgers because they got Jameis Winston. I'm not sure if the Vikings are still involved in either of these deals. Or Aaron Rodgers is going to end up retiring, and we're going to see Russell Wilson back in Pittsburgh. But those two quarterbacks are going to have an impact wherever they go, especially if Aaron Rodgers can be sort of have a Tom Brady type Buccaneers season. We saw Aaron Rodgers play really well at the end of last season. I'm hoping that he still has one really good season left just to sort of stamp down his legacy as one of the best to ever do it. And so, of course, we are going to end this sports show with Major League Baseball, the best sport in the world. So let's talk about Major League Baseball as opening day fast approaches this week. First, for the first time in his iconic career, Mike Trout is not expected to primarily play center field through the three-time MVP and one of the best players of our generation, kind of like Ken Griffey Jr., riddled with injuries, has transitioned to right field, a change he thinks will help him stay healthy throughout an entire season. Trout has definitely embraced this transition from center to right field for the Los Angeles Angels, saying it could be good and it will be good for his body. That's the whole point. He has only played 85 plus games once since his MVP season in 2019. Playing right field should put less strain on him, which is exactly why he made the switch. And again, we pray to the baseball gods, whoever they are. We pray to the baseball gods, Hank Aaron, Babe Ruth, the baseball gods, whoever you are, please, please allow this to get Mike Trout to play 140 more games so we can see him at his finest at least one more time. 140 or more games, Mike Trout in right field just doing the damn thing. Just doing the damn thing. So people, new fans of this generation who maybe came from all this new wave of baseball across the world, can see the greatness of Mike Trout. He's one of the greatest players to ever live. Again, sort of like a Ken Griffey Jr. situation. But again, we pray to those baseball gods, to the Jackie Robinson, to Hank Aaron, to Babe Ruth, the baseball gods, that we can get 140 games or more from Mike Trout this season, because now he's playing right field and we can see how great he is. And also on top of that, another interesting development is Paul Goldschmidt. Paul Goldschmidt has done many things in his 14-year MLB career. He's won an MVP award. He's taken home 4 Gold Gloves. He's stolen 32 bases in a season. He's had 7 seasons with 30 or more home runs. Very, very impressive. But he's now in New York, and the Yankees are on the verge of asking Goldschmidt to do something he's never done in his 1,928 games at the major league level before this season. That's the bat leadoff. We may see Paul Goldschmidt bat leadoff for the first time in his major league career. I mean, maybe he did it in high school, but in his major league career, he's never batted leadoff. And the Yankees have tested it out late in spring training, with the idea being to put Goldschmidt at the top of the order against lefties for the platoon advantage. The offseason addition of Goldschmidt would set up the table for Aaron Judge in this 1-2 configuration of mammoths specifically against southpaws. And I'd say, go for it. We've already seen sort of the switch now that generally the best hitter you have bats in the 2-hole. For a long time, it was he bats in the 3-hole, and then your cleanup hitter is more like your 4-hole is more like a power sort of strikeout guy. That sort of remained the same. You still have a really capable hitter at 3-hole, but you put your best hitter at 2-hole because he's going to get the most number at bats. Usually there's guys on base, maybe 9 or 1 got on, and then you have the 2-hole. That's why Aaron Judge now sits at 2-hole, and you could see him go bat leadoff. So why not put Goldie at leadoff? It's like similar sort of to the Schwarber situation in Philadelphia. Yeah, you don't have a lot of speed on the base pass. You're not going to have guys who steal a lot of bases, even though Goldschmidt has stolen 32 bases in a season. 14 years into his career, he's not stealing any bases. We know Schwarber's not stealing any bases either, but these guys get on base a lot. They hit for average, they hit for pop. So you could have that. And then you have someone coming behind them who's even better and more dangerous. And so you're not going to, if the 9-hole gets on or 8 or 9 get on, you're not going to walk the 1 to get to the 2, right? So there's so many different dynamics here, especially against lefties, which righties generally hit better. You could potentially see that in New York, maybe not on days where right-handers throw, but maybe on days where left-handers throw. And I'd say go for it. If you're going to give Aaron Judge the best possible situation for him to get coverage in the front and the back so he can get the most number at bats and the most number of good pitches, you're going to want to do that regardless of really who bats leadoff. You just happen to have one of the best right-handed hitters of the last, 5-10 years in Major League Baseball with Paul Goldschmidt. And so that's a cool development. And then we know MLB opening day officially is on March 27th. And here are the top 5 teams the top 10 teams heading into the 2025 season. Of course, you have the Dodgers at ranked number 1. We have the Phillies ranked at number 2. Braves ranked at number 3. Mets ranked at number 4. Just because they signed Juan Soto, they re-signed Alonso. I mean, the top 4 teams ranked in Major League Baseball to start the 2025 season are all in the National League. I think we're going to see Dodgers versus Mets in the National League Championship Series. That would be awesome. I would love to see the Phillies win the World Series simply because I want to see Bryce Harper win a World Series. Like, that means a lot to me. I think it means a lot to baseball. And so I pray for a Phillies World Series win almost every single year just because of Bryce Harper. But I just don't think they're going to get past any of these teams. I don't think the Mets have the juice, again, to make it to the World Series. They're probably going to have a good run this year, but they're going to lose in a divisional round. And we're going to see the Dodgers versus the Braves in the National League Championship Series, with the Dodgers going back to the World Series. And then the fifth best team is the Orioles, 6, Diamondbacks, 7, Red Sox. If Trevor Story is healthy, the Red Sox are really good, because then you have Story, Devers, Bregman, up the middle in the heart of the lineup. And so that's really good. Trevor Story has to stay healthy. Trevor Story also hit a home run off me in high school. So hopefully he can get back to his health where he's hitting 30, 35 home runs in Major League Baseball. And then you have 8, the Yankees. Even though they lose Garrett Cole, I still think they're a really good team, and maybe they'll make it to the American League Championship Series. And then you have the Padres at 9 and the Rangers at 10. With that said, I'm still going Rangers versus Dodgers in the 2025 World Series. I'd love to see the Rangers versus the Yankees in the American League Championship Series, and the Dodgers versus the Braves in the National League Championship Series, and then a beautiful World Series of the Rangers versus Dodgers in LA, in Arlington. Boom, here we go with the last 2 World Series winners, 2023 and 2024, heading together in 2025 to see who's going to sort of start creating a bit of a dynasty. It looks like it might be the Dodgers because they are better than they were last year. But the Rangers, if fully healthy, if Jacob deGrom can get back to his Cy Young form and all of the big boys in the middle of the lineup can stay healthy, they can compete. They can compete with the Dodgers offensively, and with Jacob deGrom, they can compete on the mound. So I think that would be a really interesting World Series and a really fun one and good one for Major League Baseball. So my way too early March 23rd, 2025 pick for World Series is Rangers versus Dodgers, as opening day happens on the 27th. So fuck yeah, baseball. It's amazing. Sports, amazing. So I think that's all I have for you this week on the Champions Adjust Sports Talk Show. Again, everything you need about Champions Adjust, mental skills, mindset, merch, podcast, inquiries, anything is at champsadjust.com. So share this episode with every single person that you know who loves sports or maybe needs some mindset stuff. But whatever it is, thank you very much. I appreciate you very much. And I'll see you guys next time. Lots of love. Cheers.